Wait. Okay.
There we go.
That's my notes coming on.
Okay. All right. I'd like to very genuinely thank everybody in our audience today and all of the planning commission members for coming out to our regular Thursday, December 28th meeting, which will begin at 5:34 p.m. Today's meeting is an invitation to the community to speak at public comment and have discussion, and so we do encourage that you do that, and then hopefully the people that showed up today will take advantage of that time. The agenda is short so that we have extra time to allow for things of public comment. So, thank you. Can you not hear me back there? Can you hear me?
I can't hear what you're saying.
My mic's on. Is it better if I talk closer to it?
Can you repeat what you said?
Sure. I said to welcome to the Planning Commission meeting, and then I said that we are opening the public discussion under public matters to all of you. So thank you for showing up today, and please take advantage of that time. We've made a short agenda to have more time for public discussion today, so we just appreciate you coming out. First up on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. I do not have any additions or subtractions to it. Does anybody else? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the agenda as written? Say aye. We would like to welcome our new Planning Commission member, Bob Christensen. Thank you for joining us. This is his very first meeting today. Welcome, Bob, who lives very close to the municipal center here. Did you walk?
I still froze coming over.
Yeah.
I'm blocking your driveway.
Okay. Hands blocking your driveway right now. All right. So that gets us right to the point for today, which is public discussion for the Planning Commission. And so if whoever would like to come up can just come up and state whatever grievances, the festivus, right?
Public discussion?
Yes.
Okay, good. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Bucky Dorr, and I live out in Bluff Point. Couple of things that I just wanted to mention, and the one that concerns me most is the parking on Hawthorne Street, having been eliminated on the side of the street where the businesses are. I don't know what the intention was in setting it up that way in the first place, but it's very inconvenient for those of us who have businesses and business properties on that side of Hawthorne Street. On the other side, it's only one block, right? And the other side of Hawthorne Street, you have the restaurant that was on the corner, which has its own parking lot. Then you have the Methodist thrift shop, and then you have the VFW, which also has its own parking lot. Now, you're only allowing parking on the side of the street where the businesses already have their own lots. The four businesses on the other side of Hawthorne Street are no longer allowed to have their customers park in front of their places of business. And I would like to understand why that must be and why it cannot be changed back to where parking is allowed on that one-way street, on that side of the street where the businesses are.
It was previously allowed on both sides of the street, is that correct?
You can only park on the side of the street where the VFW is, and you can't park on the side of the street where the Chamber of Commerce is. There's an art gallery there and a beauty shop, and I own a commercial building there, and the Chamber of Commerce is on.
Previously.
Previously, you could park on both sides of the street, and now you can't park where the businesses are. So that's my one area of concern. I really would like to have an explanation of that. And the other thing is just a bit of news that I would like to share with you. We have in Colonial Beach our own 5th President of the United States birthplace is right here in Colonial Beach, James Monroe's birthplace, just outside of town. When it opens up in April, they will have his dedication birthday celebration is what I mean to say, on the 21st of April, right, every year. Now this year, all of these, since 1970 something, all of the studies, the archaeological studies and all of that background work that's been done for these 30 years has finally come to fruition, and the house is being built that is a replica of the James Monroe family home that his parents built and where they lived until he grew up and went on to college, William and Mary. So I would like to just kind of propose, and this may not be what this group does as Planning Commission, but I'd like there to be some kind of an observance by the town that we acknowledge, you know, our very unique place in a very small town to have a presidential birthplace right here. And so if some kind of event could be done, or James Monroe's birthday put on your calendar as an event, I think that would be just lovely. Get a little more exposure out there. I invite you to the park. When the house is open, it will be furnished. There will be costumed docents like there are out there at Stratford Hall. And it's just going to be a wonderful place for education, and there's a whole lot going on out there that's not visible from the highway yet. But it's coming, and we're really excited about it, those of us who are involved in that. And I just want to share that good news with you and say y'all come.
Thank you very much, Becky. I really appreciate you coming out tonight.
I just want to elaborate a little bit more on what Mrs. Dorr had said about the parking on Hawthorne Street.
Please state your name, please.
Oh, Jennifer Helm. About a year ago, I complained to the town manager that people who have large vehicles, I have a big pickup truck, I cannot get out of the town parking on Hawthorne Street when there's cars parked on both sides of the road. So we had come up with a plan to take one parking spot on the side where we lost our parking and turn that into a no parking space. Instead, Mr. Blunt decided to take the rest of the block from us. The only thing he told me was it was a problem with the fire department, that they had an issue with it, and that's why it was changed. So I went and spoke to the head of the fire department, and he said no, he didn't have any issues with that block. His issue was with the next block down, which has always been a no parking anyway, so they can't turn that corner. So then I went back to Mr. Blunt and informed him of that, and he told me it was because of the police department. So I spoke to the police chief, and he said he didn't have any issues with that block. And from then on, I have not been able to get anybody to help me get our parking back. There's no legal reason why it was ever taken away from us for the entire block. In order for me to, I have a business on that street. In order for me to have my business, I was required to have that parking in front of the business to be allowed to be open. And the town has taken that away from us. So if a new business comes in, they're not going to be allowed to be open according to the town's plan of how many parking spots have to exist. That is our downtown main area, and the town has taken our parking away. And we were just...
So just to clarify, the fire department did have an issue with the block from North Irving forward
towards the water.
towards the water.
They can't make that turn in front of the condos.
To the left?
Yes. Even with them gone, they still can't. They said they couldn't make that turn very easily. That's their issue.
So turning left at the condos or turning right at the town pier?
The condos.
At the condos.
That's what I was told.
Turning left from Taylor to Hawthorne.
From Hawthorne to Taylor.
From Hawthorne to Taylor.
Yes.
Or maybe both directions.
Because it's a one-way.
I see what you're saying. Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Is that it? 2 people? Oh, Karen's always there.
I didn't come prepared to say anything, but I'm just so excited about the planning commission and what I've seen you all work on and do since I've been living here full time, which has been 5 years now. And I don't know what the process is to make it happen, but so many times I see that the recommendations of the planning commission are not necessarily acted on by town council in one way or the other. And I don't know what that exact process is, if it's something specific is sent forward to the town council, or if it just goes in the comprehensive plan and then that's kind of the end of it. But if there was a mechanism to say, you know, we would like to see some action on this one way or the other, that could maybe catalyze discussion and decision at the town council level.
Thank you, I appreciate your input. I think that's a frustration that we have as a planning commission as well. Hello, Mr. Serby.
Steve Serby, 809 Washington Avenue. Are you still having like the open thing after the meeting?
Yeah, we can talk after the meeting.
Okay, I just didn't know.
This was
This is
time
more the
to-
public comment, right?
It is public comment, but we are calling it public discussion because I'm gonna ask questions and respond. It's not
That's why I came, because I wanted to, I thought it was a great idea. You saw my post. I was hoping to see more people here and have more questions from the audience and from the town, because we hear a lot of it during the day in all aspects, whether it's at work, whether it's at the store, whether it's in the council meeting, a planning commission meeting, whatever. We have a lot of comments, but nobody brings them to the meetings a lot of times, and I'd like to see more of that. As far as the mechanism that Karen was talking about, there is a mechanism for a planning commission under the state code. We just don't follow it. The planning commission is supposed to be the visionary for the town. We're not supposed to necessarily, as a council, direct them to what to look at. They are to be the visionaries and bring a vision to council and say, this is kind of what we think and what we've kind of come up with. It's just like the council's not directing the planning commission. We're not supposed to direct the planning commission on what to write in the comprehensive plan or what to put in the capital improvement plan. That's based on the vision and the research and so forth done by the planning commission. So I agree with what Karen said, and Robin, you and I have talked about this in the past. I think the way that our process works is backwards, you know, and then when the council does in the past, and maybe even currently still, provide marching orders for the planning commission to do something, very rarely does it get culminated on the council end after you all have done a bunch of work, or that it's not accepted or acted upon based on y'all's recommendations and so forth. And the town's got a history of that. They also have a history of not following staff recommendations as well. The council doesn't. Years and years, for the past several years, there's been a lot of recommendations written up by staff for various things, but one being from planning and zoning and so forth, and the council disregards it. And until we start utilizing the services and the opinions of the people that we put in these commissions and or pay to fulfill the roles of town staff, then we're spinning our wheels if we're just going to do everything because that's the way we want to do it as council members, and I'm totally against that. So I'm 100% behind y'all. Somebody's got to be a visionary for this town. You all know how my feeling is. I think we need a professional planner. In lieu of spending a bunch of time administrating permits and zoning, we need a visionary planner, a professional planner. And because we've got 10 years to get it right, the next 10 years are going to be huge, I think, down here. And we got 10 years to get it right, or we're going to be bypassed. And we'll still get growth and stuff, but it's going to be the growth that we want when the bridge comes in and all the development continues down 301. We can be a byproduct of what happens, or we can guide our future as to what happens. And that's the decision we got to make. But in order to do that, we've got to have somebody whose task it is to do that and has vision. Thanks. Y'all are doing a great job. Welcome to the new members.
Thank you, Steve. Anybody else? I would invite you after the meeting, if you don't feel comfortable speaking in public comment, to please come up to us and speak to us after we adjourn so that it is more informal and so that you get to know us a little bit better too. That's part of the meeting tonight. And so I appreciate the public comment, but I know it can be intimidating to walk up to the podium and speak in front of everyone else in such a formal setting. So, thank you. If there's no other public comment, we will close public comment at this time. All right, we will close public comment at 5:49 p.m. And we'll move on to our next agenda item. It should be a short agenda, and we'll get to adjourn shortly, so stick around. The next agenda item is the reappointment of Maureen McCabe to the Planning Commission. Unfortunately, Maureen McCabe had a sort of one-time chance to see somebody today that she wouldn't get to see, so she's not here at this meeting. But if you don't know Maureen, she is a very involved, active member of our Planning Commission and is really the spearhead of our capital improvement plan and the process for that. Her natural 4-year term is ending, and so we are recommending for her reappointment to a new term instead of her dismissal and replacement. So that's the next agenda item. Is there any discussion on this for anybody? Bob, would you like to read the paper for us? Just read the top of it where it says whereas.
Whereas, the Colonial Beach Planning Commission is highly pleased by the performance and dedication displayed by Ms. Maureen McCabe and supports her decision to serve on an additional 4 years on the Colonial Beach Planning Commission. Now therefore be it resolved that the Colonial Beach Planning Commission hereby recommends to Town Council the reappointment of Ms. Maureen McCabe to the Planning Commission for an additional term expiring on December 28th, 2021.
I'm going to get you to read all of this from here on out. Thank you. All right. Mr. Nelson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Robertson?
Aye.
Mr. Christensen?
Aye.
Mr. Coughlin?
Aye.
Ms. Olson? Aye. And the chair votes aye. I will let her know the good news of 4 more years of dedication.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So the council needs to put one recommendation.
Correct. This is the recommendation to council, and the next council meeting, the reappointment will be in front of council. So they could do it.
Curious, can it happen at a work session or?
I believe it can.
That's a good question. I believe it can. I believe appointments can happen at work sessions and at regular meetings and do not have to be discussed prior. It's in the bylaws of the town council.
I have to look at the number of business days specifically between the work session coming up and the and tomorrow, basically, because I have to get it to Kathy within a certain time frame.
Oh, okay. So maybe for
So-
Kathy's timeline.
Yeah, because of that, I have to make sure that she has enough time to put it in the packet and agenda, give the agenda accordingly.
It wouldn't make a difference anyway, though, because even if it takes an extra month, in our bylaws, she naturally extends her term until which time there's a reappointment.
I talked to Kathy today about the work session and asked her about the cutoff. She said that was going to be tomorrow. So you may hear her last time.
Yay! All right, thank you.
Good, it should flow. Next up is our first look at our capital improvement plan. For those of the audience that might not be familiar with this process, part of the Planning Commission's task is to try to plan in the 10 years of our future, the kinds of needs that the town of Colonial Beach will have, and prepare for them, and prepare a document for council that has a priority and a cost associated with those needs. The items on the capital improvement plan in front of you are from the 2016 year on the front and then behind. If you don't have a copy of this, we're happy to provide a copy of it as well. This is our very first draft to look at our next year's copy. So this is very much an edit format and process. We will have a public hearing on the capital improvement plan, I would imagine by February, hopefully. In January meeting, we'll do another edit, and hopefully by February, we'll have a public comment on it. So just know it's an edited version. We're still processing it for this next year. But it identifies a lot of the big needs in town. And I will let him Colson introduce it, because she's been working with Ms. McCabe, which is really the spearhead of the project there, the subcommittee.
Okay, at our last meeting, Maureen had passed out a folder in which she had tried to put the key pieces of the CIP together, especially for the new members who hadn't been through this process before. And she and I met a little over a week ago to talk about the process. I was concerned because I was not able to get an appointment in December with Rob from the Planning Commission, although we heard the Public Works, but we had spoken. And in preparing for that, I had gone through this folder and I had some questions. And I ended up, we talked about it for a long time, and the form that was originally that she had given to us entitled the Commissioner's Form Capital Improvement Project. I wanted some clarification on what she was asking. This is a new form. This is our third year for the CIP process, a formal process. And I was concerned that we were changing directions every year. So we talked about it, and one of the things we had proposed is that we really need to be looking more at a 5-year plan than building that 5-year plan than just a 1-year plan every year at a time. And the reason being is as we've gotten into this process, we've realized that many of the projects, due to priority or due to funding source or just the difficulty in implementing the project, overlaps many years. And so there's carryover from year to year in our fiscal year CIP. So we have redone a couple of these forms, or just cleaned them up a little bit, and I just wanted to bring it to your attention, the process. What we're trying to do is, again, implement a 5-year plan. This would be year 2 of that plan, with the fiscal year 2016-17 having been our first year. We finished up the 2017-2018 CIP process. However, due to difficulties or changes in town management, we were not able to get the CIP approved until after the budget for that fiscal year had been approved. So now we're looking at creating another year CIP, and actually there's going to be 2 CIPs up for prioritizing and funding in the next fiscal year, 2018-2019. Does everybody understand that?
And for clarification, could you tell me what the fiscal year is? I know.
Okay, the town's fiscal year.
Yes.
From July 1 to June 30th.
Okay, thank you.
So we got approval for funding certain projects for fiscal year July 1-16 to June 17. Technically, we would have approved 2017-18 CIP before the budget was approved last June.
I think that this is getting too close to the budget for me. And the whole, when we go over in the course for the Planning Commission, it is very clear that the CIP needs to be a simple document that anybody can read, that anybody can pick up and understand. And part of it is you have to leave out certain information because otherwise it jumps it up. So we have to do our research and have the supplementary documents that support it if you want further information. But the actual plan itself should be quite simple. And this to me looks, I understand wanting to incorporate the fiscal budget more into the CIP. But if you look back when Gary used to do the CIP on his own before the Planning Commission was really involved in it, this is very similar to how he did it then, and that's fine if we use that format, but it also was not as simple to read when he did it, and it was a huge Excel spreadsheet, and it was, so I'm not, there was a reason why we deviated from the way that he did it to begin with, and I'm not necessarily a fan of reverting back to that.
I don't think we are.
Okay.
We're not changing
The
the
format.
form at all, the form at all.
So the only thing that we're doing is filling out this
Right,
form when we go as liaisons to the department heads.
right.
Okay.
This particular, all I did was, when I talked with her and asked for clarification on what some of these items, what she was looking for, I just tried to clarify it a little more.
Okay.
And all we are doing is, this is the form, instead of that 4-page form we started with a few years ago, that the department heads would fill out per project.
Okay.
And the only difference is that we're trying to figure out when the start date would be,
And
when the proposed, if it was funded,
uh-huh.
when the proposed completion would be. And then, as we continue to fill out this form, it may show that overlap from year to year when what's being carried over. This is more of a document for our purposes in understanding where things stand.
Okay.
So there's, the key pieces are these two forms for you. One is to go over where projects that were approved in 2016-17 are they all completed so we can update the form. Projects for 2017 and 2018 haven't even been looked at by, I mean, they were passed and the CIP recommendations were adopted by the town council, but technically they won't be up for funding until next fiscal year. So we're really gonna have two documents.
No, we're not going to have two documents. We have presented the CIP from last year, it has been approved, it is done. We're dealing with one document.
Right. But they will both be, documents will be up for priority funding.
No.
That's
This
the way
is
it was
a-
explained to me.
Okay. Then, the way that I would explain it is there's one CIP that gets revised. It got revised in 2016, it got revised in 2017. Now that revised document is the living document in which we continue to revise. There is no second document. It has always been the one CIP, and the one that we approve now will be the one that goes before the fiscal year of 2018.
I have no problem with that, but that's not the way it was explained to me. We would have an A and we would have a B.
Okay. Maureen, explain it that way?
That's the way it was explained to me.
Then maybe I would need
Yeah.
to meet with Maureen.
So, but regardless, you're gonna need these two forms when you meet with the department heads to begin identifying your projects for the next CIP project.
Forgive me, Pam, can I go back to the capital improvement list itself? The first two pages say, 217, 218, 216, 217, so clearly that's the fiscal year, right?
Correct.
On the second two pages, it just says capital improvements 2017, and I'm wondering, is that a fiscal year or is that a calendar year?
No, it's still the fiscal year.
So it really should be 216 to 217? Or, in other words, is this,
Oh, page
is this
3 is a continuation.
page 3 and page 4?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, does that
I
mean?
didn't catch that to correct it, so
Okay, well,
it's still
the fiscal year,
fiscal year 2017, 2018.
so it is a fiscal year.
Yeah.
It says
The
it-
government would call it probably 2018 fiscal year.
Well, let's come to an agreement and call it something because it's very confusing.
Well, if you want to, it's confusing to me because it's different on two different pages. So, and I'm sorry, again, being a newbie, so
It
if
is
you're just
confusing,
consistent,
though.
it'd be fine.
No, you're absolutely right. It's definitely confusing. And that's what we don't want. What we do not want is for it to be confusing. Okay, well, regardless, like you said, Pam, okay, so we're gonna take these, however,
This is for us to gather the information, we just need is to gather the information.
okay.
What's the stage of the current project, has it been completed? Was it student funded, is it in progress, so we can update
Those questions.
those questions. And this form for the new year that we're working on.
But this section here where it says who is the liaison for each department, that section is not correct.
Right, that's what was sent to me, I don't know who needs to update that. Okay,
We can update that. Is it, I can update it and resend it to you.
Well, actually, I was gonna ask about that as well, because, I was the liaison with the school board last year, but, I'm not going to be this year, but somebody else is going to be, and I think it's you, right? So I'm not sure why I would be asking questions when he's then going to ask the, liaison for.
No, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna update it.
Okay.
So, and Dan wasn't here and we gave him the fire department and the rescue squad, is that correct?
PDF.
Police department.
Fire, rescue, community. And the fire and rescue aren't always in the capital improvement plan because a lot of the projects don't qualify necessarily, but we like to stay in communication with them and be aware of their needs too. And when we're prioritizing projects, it's important, the information that they get as well.
So Robin, you have the correct line.
Yeah, we can review this, though, I mean, I'll review
but we
it down.
need to get going on
Right. By January, we should have these filled out for the new projects and these questions answered.
the new project,
Correct. Or you want this one for every project?
for the new projects. For the new fiscal year, CIP. I'm just asking.
I don't understand what that
Form or
means.
not. Because, I mean, the other.
I like the form, that's fine. I like the form, but we should then fill out the form for each project that is underneath of our department. How about that? And then we have that compiled.
Right, it gets compiled into the document that then becomes presented to the town council. When we prioritize.
So Mr. Prosser has fire, rescue, police department, Stolzen has public works, Nelson, which one did you?
I had, town council.
Town council, and, there's school, and Maureen had, planning department, I thought.
Yes. Who has the school?
But I also have a town manager, administration.
Town council, I think that I had the town manager.
Okay.
I have it in my notes, I should bring it with me. On this. And that's everybody. And Bob, because you're brand new, we'll give you a slide by task on this one. And you can ask us all the questions in
I'll be in
January.
charge of asking dumb questions.
That will be wonderful.
It's a confusing process, and we've done it a little different each of the last 3 years. But this is year 3 for the,
Yes.
although Maureen is calling it year 2.
I think I just need to meet with Maureen. It's unfortunate she's not here today because I think that would clarify all of these questions.
Can I ask a question? Just for purposes of clarification, there's gonna be one CIP for FY19 that we're working on. And to do that CIP, the plan is to take the existing CIP, have the departments review it, and merge it with any new projects that they have to come up with one plan for each department? Is
That is
correct?
that is the process that I understand
Okay.
it to be.
And just so I understand the timeline on this, when do we expect to reach out to the departments for their information?
Now,
Now. Is
Yeah.
that it? Okay, so I just put now. And how about when do we expect to get the input from the department?
by our January meeting at the latest, yeah.
By when?
By our January meeting, which is gonna be January,
Okay.
it's the last Thursday of January.
Okay, thank you.
And I think most people have reached out already, but haven't gone through the formal of filling the forms out yet. So there's been reach out. We don't have a town manager yet, so I have, I can reach out to Eddie, but I was sort of waiting. I thought in December that might happen. So, okay. So, I didn't know. So, we'll work with that. But yeah, all the other departments, and the departments, while the process has changed slightly through the years, the departments are used to us coming and talking to them. So, that
Although I don't see town council as a department.
it's not, but I think that their input on the CIP is important to get at this level before we go to public comment with it and go to a public hearing.
Well, and I have spoken to Kathy about it, and she understands that we
Reaching out. Yep.
But I just noticed that there wasn't a department called town council.
Well, because they end up making the yes or no, but they're not the ones that actually implement it,
Well, I had the impression that town council was things that Kathy needs to support the town council itself.
In the past, they have submitted 2 applications for items in the CIP, and both of those applications have would be something that would be implemented through a particular department. Now, the Treasury Department is a department that sometimes things are pushed through.
I would have thought, for example, this room, the furniture, was
And that was a project that they had put on a previous CIP that got accomplished.
okay.
Yep.
Can I ask a question? So it wasn't your last time.
Yeah.
So we're going to the department and asking them what they might want for 2018, 2019.
I'm gonna send you the copy of the CIP as it stands right now. This is confusing to me with the previous 2 years on it. The one that got passed by town council is the one that we should be working with. And that's the one you should take to your department. And then go down the items that your department is named as, and then see if they have anything else to add to it.
Okay, so it'll show existing and if they want to add anything.
No.
So we're going to take the one that was just approved by the town council,
Correct.
of which none of those projects have been funded. Or,
If they haven't been funded, then they should continue to be in a capital improvement plan. Yeah.
then we're going to take, we create additional projects, and we're going to merge them into a document that's been approved, and then have the document reapproved.
That's what we do every year. That's the process.
No, what I meant, since they'd already approved
Yeah.
one
Last year.
last year, but wasn't included in the budget.
The idea is that we are comprehensive about this, and there are not many projects that added in that we do not know about. There should be, this is the things that we can foresee needing in the next 10 years. There's not a lot of things that should not already be in this document. You understand?
Well, I do. I don't think, that was the point that Maureen was trying to make, was that we only address things a year at a time, and not addressing it over a 5-year plan.
No, I think that something has been lost in translation there, because I just need to talk to Maureen.
All right, but at least we have a form to work with. And this form would be, ideally, could go send it to Rob ahead of time. He
Yeah.
fills it out, we meet, we talk about it, we both keep a copy of it
Great.
But it's a form for a project,
per
so
project.
there could be more than you might need more than one.
Same form, fill it out multiple times. It's good to get this clarified now before we go to the chart. So if there are any questions, it's okay to ask them. I'm not trying to short that. Just, I felt like it was going in a different, I need to get with Maureen and make sure she's on the same page.
And I'm here.
I know. Okay. Awesome. Are there any other questions? Anybody in the audience have questions? Are you as confused as we are? I'm not confused any. Are you confused?
Now, the kind of questions, do you want to wait until after?
No, we'll wait till after. Okay. We're almost done. Committee reports. One of our committees is policy committee, which would be the capital improvement plan. So we've already covered that. And our other committee is the public outreach committee, which is Ms. Polson, and she is part of why we have the invitation for all of you guys to be here today. Would you have anything else to do?
No, just that I've gotten some good feedback, email, I don't know if they're in the audience or not, so.
Okay.
We'll see.
I'd also like us to follow up on the people that spoke at public comment today as well, and write down all their names so that we can get back to your questions. That's part of what our public outreach committee does. So thank you. Under other topics, I quickly have a gift for our planning commission members, and it's kind of silly, but today was supposed to be a little more informal anyway. So their New Year's stuff, because I'm really looking forward to a new year this year. It's party hats, that's all it is. And I really just wanted to have everybody work together. And so this is for our brand new 2018 year where we are going to have a lot of fun and work really hard. I can't wait to wear one to represent my enthusiasm for the Colonial Planning Commission. You put that paper, are you going to put that in the paper? I'll put that in the paper. And that's all I had. Is there any other topics today?
Were you, I guess you were not going to request us to give you an update on the goals?
Not at this meeting. We'll do that in January when we review our goals and objectives for 2018.
Okay.
Is there anything else? Nope. Seeing none, then I say Happy New Year. And we adjourn at 6:17.